The new government had to sell off nearly 45,000 public businesses, like energy, mining, and communication companies that had been run by the communist regime, and it was chaos. The Russian economy was in a free fall, and all of these companies ended up in the hands of a few extremely wealthy men, known today as Russia's oligarchs. At the same time,
So hello guys, in today's tutorial we're going to be recreating this scene from Vox YouTube video about the Russian oligarchs and the collapse of Russia. So without wasting much time, let's get into it. So inside of After Effects, I've imported my folders and some of the items I'll be using. Link will be in the description, like as always. So I'll create a new composition 1920 by 1080, create a new solid. So I have a color code I want to use already, which I've saved up. You can copy the same thing from here and push that in. Then next I'm going to go into my folder here and bring in this scratch texture. So the scratch texture is a bit large, so I'm just going to right click on it, then going to transform and fit to comp like this. Then next I'm going to add an effect, the levels effect. So I'll add that. So what I want to do here is to make the black a little bit less visible. So I'm just going to push this down to around 21,000, which makes the scratch a little bit less visible. But so I don't want the effect, and because this might slow down our project while we move on, so I'll just turn off my levels effect here and also the scratch texture, leaving only my background here for the time being until we are done with our tutorial. So let's move on to the other fix. So before we move on, I've noticed that a lot of you who are watching my videos are not subscribed yet, and this is really hurting my channel. I'm not yet monetized and I need all the support I can get to move on and make more tutorials like this. So if my tutorials have been helpful in any way, please do subscribe and like my video. And if you want to support me, you can do that on Patreon and on Buy Me a Coffee. So let's move on. Thank you. So before we move on to the next phase, I'll also change this scratch here to darken so that it inherits our layer below here like this. So I'll shy that away again. So next I'm going to go down to my text tool here, then type in Russian Federation. I already have it typed out, so I'm just going to use it. So I'm using the Poppins font bold italic 138 pixels as the font size. So I'm just going to go down to my align tool here, then center it, then go back to the property and bring this down a little bit. Then next I'm going to go to my pen tool here, then click on this ruler here, then drag in a ruler down here like this. So I'm going to create a straight line, then use your guide to snap it so that it's straight. So I'll make this stroke white and it's going to be 6 pixels in size. Then next I'm going to bring up the position and push it up a bit close to the Russian. Then rename this to white line, duplicate it, then make this blue, duplicate it again and make the next one red. Then bring the blue one down and the red one below. So once you've done that, select everything including the line and the text and pre-compose this. So we are going to animate this later, a little bit later. So let's move on to the next part. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to create the dots. So I'm going to drag in this sample video here from Vox. Then I'm going to go forward to where the dots are perfectly placed. Then zoom in a bit. Then this time I'm going to go to my rectangle tool here. Make sure you're not clicking on anything to create a mask, and there will be no stroke. So I'll make this a fill and I'll leave this as blue for now. Next I'm going to create a shape around this our box here, just to duplicate what we have like this. Then next I'm going to go inside, then add a repeater to this. I'm going to add it, then make the copies 16. Then go down to your transform tool here, then slide it until you have something you want. In my case it will be around 82.8. Then I'm going to go down to my layer. I'll rename this as dot 1, then duplicate these dots into 6 places, then reposition them to fit in with the rest of these ones. So next, to animate this, first I'm going to share the reference or our sample video here, and you notice that I brought in some guides to help us with the animation. So these are where our keyframes are going to be stopping. Just in a minute you see that. Then also I'm just going to select all of my dots here and finally make this black. It might not be totally black like this. Press OK. Then after that, I'm going to drag all of this to around 20 frames. So let me find that. Then next, I'm going to select all of them again, bring up their position, then set a keyframe for this position here. Then go forward at 1 second and 9 frames forward. Then drag all of your dots so that the last one is above our first guide here, this one here, just above it. Then we'll have a keyframe. Then I'll go 1 frame forward and set another keyframe. This will probably be a hold keyframe for us also. Then I'm going to go down to 2 seconds and 6 frames forward. Then I'm going to bring down all of our layer so that the last one is just above our third guide here like this for our keyframe. So I'll just do a quick playback. So it's not going well, but we'll retouch this. So I'm just going to move this keyframe here to around 1 second and 20 frames forward. So I'll move this last keyframe here to this position here. Then select the last 2 keyframes. Make sure you select everything. I'll make them easy ease. Then I'm going to be using this free tool Mobar from Motion Ape. It's a free tool that is packed with a lot of features. I'll be doing a tutorial on it maybe later on, and it's free. It has the paid version with extra features, but all we need is in this free version. And you can also do what I'm about to do manually. You don't need this extension right here. So what I want to do is to offset these keyframes by 2 frames forward. So I'll just go down to keyframes here with using Mobar here, go down to offset. Then I already have 2 here and it's by frames. Then I'll offset it like this by 2 frames. So let me play this back for you to see. And that is what we want, and you can tweak this as you want when you're creating your own. This is just my tutorial, a quick tutorial for us to move on. So the next thing we're going to do is to trim some of these layers. So let's quickly do that. I'm just going to close all of this. Then first, at 20 frames, we're going to have only layer 6 here. Then we will go to 23 frames, then push layer 5.5 to this place, then go to 1 second, then push dot forward here. Then next we're going to go to 1 second and 11 frames forward, and we're going to push the remaining frames there. So once you've done that, select everything again and pre-compose them. So next, I'm just going to go to my rectangle tool here. Then I'm going to remove the fill, then set the stroke size to around 2, then make this black, just like our dot, not too black. So I'm going to draw a stroke around our marks here, covering only 4 of our dots, or 4 side of our dots here, like this. Then I'm going to go and add the trim parts to this. Go down to the trim part. Then I'm going to go forward to 0.2 seconds and 3 frames forward and move my layer here. Then set a keyframe for both places. Then I'm going to offset this a bit. Let me remove this shoe controller. So I'm just going to offset this, offset it to around 40. Then reduce the end to like 50. Then the start also bring it down to like 50. Then go forward to 302. Then push this to 100. Then push this back to 0 like this keyframe. Select both of them and make them easy ease like this. So next I'll go to 617 and set a keyframe for both of them. Then go to 711. Then for this start value here, I'll move it back to around 50. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go down here, then add a repeater. Then once you've done that, go down to your repeater and make the copies for. Then go down to the transform of the repeater, then move this. So next I'm going to go into this pre-comp here where my dots are, and for this exercise I'm just going to change all of them back to a color we can see in this dark mode here. I'm just going to change them to blue. I'm going to remove all this guide and leave only one. We'll use that later. So I'm going to go down to, I'll push this guide down here, like really far down. Then I'm going to go into this composition here, and I'm going to change this composition to an 8K composition because we need it to be larger. So we'll make it 7680 by 4320. That's 8K. So it's big like this. So I'm going to pull this guide here down to around 3 point, to around this ruler here, 3000 or around here. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to go down to 7 seconds and 6 frames forward, then set a keyframe for all the position, then go forward to 822, then bring down everything here so that the dots are just below our line here. Then we'll also offset these keyframes here. So I'll use my Mobar here, go down to keyframe. Remember, it's a free plugin, and offset them like this so that they fall like this. So, and another thing you notice here is that you notice that these dots are moving in between these keyframes. To change that, I'm going to select these last keyframes here and toggle hold keyframe so that it doesn't move in between. So I'll toggle hold keyframe, and we are done with this. So go back to our main comp. Next thing I'm going to do, I have this folder here of Russian oligarchs that I've removed the background. So I'm going to import all of them, then arrange them underneath this layer here, pre-compose them, then add the black and white effect to it. Then I'm also going to add the levels effect to reduce the whiteness on their face a bit. So next, I'm going to drag this composition with Russian billionaires down to 069. Just move it here like this. Then next, bring up the position and drag it below. So I'm just going to make it 3D for a minute, just temporary, to see what I'm doing. Just drag it like this here. This should be okay. So I'm using this guide to measure where I'm going to put it. Then after that, I'm going to add a new null layer. This can start from here. Then I'll go down to 721. Then I'll select this bracket shape here, and also the dots, the both of them, then parent them to our null layer. So we can also parent the Russian billionaires to the null layer, but I want to move it independently, so I'll just leave it on its own. So on the null layer, I'll press P to bring up the position, then set a keyframe here, then go down to 902, then drag the null layer up a bit to around here like this. Then after that, I'm going to go back again to this keyframe here. Then this time I'll bring up the position for the Russian billionaires, set a keyframe here, then go like half of it like this, then move it up just a little bit above like this. Then once you've done that, I'll add a max to our dot layer so that it closes, so it's less visible after the middle of the billionaires. So the max is going to start from here at 1.09 frames. So I'll go here and draw max real quick, bring it down a little bit. I might adjust this later like this. Then go down to the max and just feather it a bit. So I noticed that the max thing didn't work. So what I'll do instead is I'll go into the dots layer, then trim each of the dots, like each of the different layer too. I'll trim them to stop once they are behind these Russian oligarchs here. So that's what I will do. So finally, for the last part of the animation, which I believe you can do by yourself, I will just speed run through this. So I will animate the Russian Federation, also animating, like also going up with our dots here. Then I'll add these arrows when the dots are falling down. Then I'll also add the billionaire's name and their net worth below them. Then finally, the oligarchs, the text oligarch.